I don't know if I'm the only one who ever did this as a kid, but whenever I walked in front of a car, I always imagined it having a face of some sort. Well, I guess I wasn't the only one after all, because in 2006, Pixar made a movie called Cars about, as you guessed, talking cars. And so in this 7th episode of ranking every Pixar movie ever made, we'll go over this movie. If you are new to this channel, hi, welcome. And if you want to support this small channel of mine, please consider subscribing to it. Now, enough yapping said, let's go over the movie Cars. And don't forget that this entire video is subjective and that you have the right to have your own opinion. So, the movie starts off with this freaky ass car named Lightning McQueen who's racing to win the Piston Cup. The race ends with a three-way tie, which forces the three winners to compete in one last race a week from now to determine who will win the Piston Cup. On his way to California with his transporter named Mac, who is as freaky as he is, McQueen falls asleep and accidentally gets out of Mac. Yeah, don't take this sentence out of context. While trying to find Mac on the road, he starts to drive really fast, which awakes a police car, and he engages in a pursuit. But McQueen, thinking that he's above the law, tries to lose the police, but instead creates chaos in a small town called Radiator Springs, notably by destroying its main road. And so the police car finally arrests him, because McQueen got stuck in electrical wires. Yeah, don't ask me how that happened. The next morning, McQueen wakes up with this guy named Matter staring right into his soul. They then go to the town's court, and McQueen sadly doesn't have any lawyer.
Where's your lawyer? I don't know. Tahiti, maybe.
And so they assigned Matter to be his lawyer. Don't count on them winning the case. And so a lawyer named Sally, representing the people of the town, enters the court and mentions everything wrong that McQueen did to this town, including damaging the road. And so what's his sentence? Well, repairing the road with the help of this big fat machine named Bessie. For the record, in theory, it would take him up to 5 days to finish this task, which is frustrating for him because he needs to be in California in time for the final race of the season. And so, while Matter was trying to hook McQueen onto Bessie, McQueen saw an opportunity to flee and took it. But surprise, surprise, he ran out of gas, because some people siphoned his gas to keep him away from doing that. Well, I think he underestimated how smart they could be. Anyways, McQueen works very hard to repair the road. Just kidding, he rushes it in like an hour, and turns out the results are very bad. We could say that the road is worse than it was when it was cracked, and so he needs to start all over again. But Doc Hudson, the judge, decided to give him a deal. They would race, and if McQueen wins, he could be freed. If not, then he goes back to work. And so, during the race, Doc decided to aura farm instead of racing, and let McQueen be driven by his pride, which led him to lose control and drift away. So, after losing the race, McQueen goes back to Radiator Springs and continues his community service. During the night, he and Matter go out to do some silly little pranks on some tractors, which makes them fart, and McQueen ends up alerting Frank. Who's Frank, might you ask? Well, it's this scary guy. After leaving the scene of the crime, McQueen decides to go sleep in Sally's motel, and the next morning, he finds out Doc Hudson's secret identity. He's an old racer, a great one even. But Doc doesn't like to share his past with people, so he tells McQueen to leave him alone. Sally then invites McQueen to go out on the road and drive around with her, which tests her trust in him, because she decides to fill his gas tank. And so, McQueen has two choices: the simp road or the egocentric / criminal road. And you know what? He surprises everyone by choosing to go out with Sally instead of fleeing a second time. Hey, isn't that a great character development? Or is it just a dumb bad move? Anyways, on the road, we learned that Radiator Springs was once a very popular place for tourists, but became forgotten because of the motherfucking highway. Yeah, fuck you, Interstate 40. The next day, we learned that McQueen finally finished his community service. But how was he able to finish it so fast? Well, I can only think of one possible answer for that. Later, with the help of the entire town, he gets fully repaired, changes his look, and turns on the neon lights at night. It's just as if he had moved on from racing and became very close to the people of this town. Oh, never mind. The media found him. And so that forces him to go back to California to participate in the last race of the season in hopes of winning the Piston Cup. But by doing that, he abandons his new friends and goes back to his normal life. Oh, never mind. They join his crew in California mid-race. And so, just when he was about to win, McQueen sees Trip Weathers do rollovers and decides to brake right in front of the finish line because that event reminds him of what happened to Doc Hudson in his prime years ago. And so, in a shocking turn of events, instead of winning, McQueen decides to help Strip get to the finish line, despite him being in a critical state, which lets Chick win the Piston Cup. But nobody gives a shit about him, because after all, racing is not just about winning, it's about the friends we made along the way. And so, with all that said, that was a summary of the movie. Now, what did I think of it? Well, I find this movie pretty surprising. I find the concept of talking cars so good and so cursed at the same time. It's a really unique concept and a really unique world inspired by ours, which sets this movie apart from others easily, and I like it, even if it can be goofy at times. I find some of the design choices made for the cars to be really unrealistic. Like, how is McQueen going to be able to call his agent? Like, he will have to compose his number with what? His tongue? Also, I find the story pretty simple, but very fun and entertaining. You follow the evolution of an egocentric race car that goes from acting like a nepo baby to being very thoughtful of the others. The movie started off very strong by jumping directly into the action, which sets the mood of the movie pretty rapidly. And from then on, you follow a pretty entertaining journey and discover a world full of self-driving cars, which is pretty damn cool, not gonna lie. I also really like how this movie subtly criticizes our society and its social classes by separating race cars and rusty cars. The way McQueen reacted around rusty cars was a great demonstration of how rich people can sometimes act around poor people. And this movie doesn't just stop there when it comes to parody our world. There are many more moments and examples that I won't talk about here because this video would be an hour long if I did so. Now, even though I find the pacing of this movie a bit slow at times and some of its moments stretched, I think the main events of the movie are interesting and entertaining. Seeing Lightning McQueen's growth as a character was pretty good, even though he annoyed me so much in the beginning of the movie. It's honestly a situation really similar to Woody in Toy Story. You start off the movie not liking this character very much, but seeing them making efforts to grow and ending up becoming a better person is really interesting, and you end up liking them after all. It's cool to see that during the epilogue, McQueen used his fame to promote Radiator Springs, which demonstrates how grateful he is to the townsfolk and to what they taught him. Now here's a sentence that really stuck with me and that summarizes pretty well McQueen's journey.
Thanks for everything.
It's just a road.
No, it was much more than that.
Talking about the characters, let's talk about more of them. Matter. What about Matter? Well, I think he's the f***ing GOAT. I know he's just a comedic relief with no real development, but I honestly think he's my favorite character of the movie because he's so funny and likable easily. I got attached to him so fast, and I really love to see his relationship with McQueen grow, even if it could have been explored a bit more. Because when Matter said that McQueen is his best friend, I was like, but haven't they met like 3 days ago? I didn't really believe in that sentence Matter said, because no real emotional or impactful growth was shown on screen to support this statement of his. Anyways, Matter's the fucking GOAT. I don't care what anybody says. Sally's usage was also well done in my opinion, because her purpose was to teach McQueen more about the world and its people, and it worked. The paths she took to get there were believable, and even though her relationship with McQueen was weird at times, I think it was pretty fun to watch and follow. The rest of the characters were also all fine, because they all served one purpose, and that one purpose was well used enough. Except for one character. Among all of the characters of the movie, there's only one that disappointed me, and it's Doc Hudson. I find this character's journey to be really confusing. He was very straight with McQueen. He told him to shut the fuck up so many times, but still missed deep down the race car lifestyle. And all of that confusing bullshit was so weird to me. He had a very strange change of mind line at the end of the movie that felt a bit forced and that was there more to serve the plot with no real development. I think this character overall was hard to read and made decisions that were pretty confusing. Now, the movie also shares a very powerful message that resonates with me. You have to take responsibility for your actions, whoever you are. That message is pretty clear to me and can be easily understood by anyone. I like seeing this movie criticize the way some powerful and famous people can get away with anything, and they criticize this by using Lightning McQueen as a representation of them. Giving him a redemption also shares a great message to the people who feel represented by this character. Also, throughout the movie, McQueen learned stuff from the people of Radiator Springs that he used at the end of the movie during the race, like driving in reverse or drifting. These throwbacks are being used greatly and demonstrates that even successful people can learn from anyone, which also shares a great message to the audience. Now, visually, the movie looks very good. I think it's a step up from their previous movie, except when it comes to the environments. They still miss a bit of texture at times and feel generic. I love how colorful this movie is, and it's especially shown by the characters' designs, which again are very good and very diverse. And I like how they play with reflection using the lightning, especially on the cars. That right there is a visible step up for me from their previous work. And the choice of songs for this movie is really good too. Shout out to them. Finally, one last thing that disappointed me a lot in this movie is its humor. Honestly, the movie made its humor mainly about funny faces, which is so millennial nowadays, and I hate those. They were able to slide so many great jokes though, especially through some of the characters' dialogues. But when it comes to funny faces, this movie kind of overused them at times. And so, with all that said, I will put this movie in B tier, right behind Monsters Inc. I think I preferred Monsters Inc. for two main reasons. One, I like its main characters more, and two, I find it more emotional. Cars is still a pretty good movie with a great message, but has some small defaults that ends up affecting the entire movie at times. And with all that said, that concludes this 7th episode of ranking every Pixar movie. Next time we'll go over Ratatouille, a movie that I love very much. If you don't want to miss out on this next episode, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button to get notifications whenever I upload. If you enjoyed or hated this video, make sure to leave a like or a dislike. I send you guys all my love and hope to see you in the next one. See y'all.